Hello everybody, good evening and welcome to the United Stand. This is the United Stand and I think this is going to be difficult. If you've been looking on social media, I'm not going to confirm or deny it, but it might be difficult, this show, for me tonight. We're going to talk about Erik ten Hag's tipping point for Erik ten Hag, because it is a tipping point, because effectively, it's a real tipping point. Like, you know, that there is a tipping point going on here. That it's difficult. It's difficult. It's a difficult job for Erik ten Hag at the moment. So we're going to talk about that. The lack of signings is abysmal. It's a disgrace. It's a bloody disgrace. And you know what? I've just read on social media that bloody Chelsea are back in for Enzo Fernandez. I've been down the pub. I want to go back down the pub. I'll have a pint. Bloody Chelsea are going to buy Enzo Fernandez. They've spent 200 million in January. 200 million pounds in January. And they're going to buy Enzo Fernandez. And we've got Wout Weghorst. Bloody hell. I like Weghorst. I do like Weghorst. But forget about liking Weghorst. Bloody hell. 3 million euros we spent on a loanee from Burnley. And Chelsea are spending about 300 million in January. You're having a bloody laugh. We could win a shit quadruple. Chelsea are out the FA Cup. Liverpool are out the FA Cup. Arsenal are out the FA Cup. Newcastle are out the FA Cup. We can win the Carabao Cup. We can win the FA Cup. We can get top four. That's a treble. It's a crap treble, but we could do it. But the reason... Oh, I'm so frustrated tonight. I tell you what, get your questions in. I'm so frustrated tonight. Do you want to know why I'm frustrated? Because we could win the FA Cup, we could win the Carabao Cup, and we could get top four. That's the best season we've had since Sir Alex Ferguson retired. But you know why we won't? I'm going to tell you now, and you know it. You know it. You know it. You sat there and you know it. You know it. You know it. You know it. Ten Hag would win the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup, and he'd get us top four if he'd been backed in January. He's a genius. But he's playing with one arm tied behind his back again, isn't he? He's having to do it with bloody low knees from Burnley. It's a bloody joke. Handbrake football by the prats at the top. I've bloody had enough of the Glazers. I bloody hate them. They're rubbish. They're bloody rubbish. I'm so pissed off. I'm really pissed off. Chelsea have bought Gusto, Badiashile, Mudryk, Madueke, Fofana, who looks like he'll be good. And now they're going to get Enzo Fernandez in January. And you've got John Murta going, wow, we love to overspend in the summer. We love to buy a £50 million player for 90 million in the summer. We don't like to spend money in the January because nothing's left. You know, I'm working 6 in the morning till 10 o'clock at night. I can't bloody log on. I can't find the Wi-Fi. I've been bloody looking everywhere for weeks. I can't find the code. 6 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock at night. I can't log on. I'm trying my best. It's a joke. It's a bloody joke. You know what? It is a joke. And people are just like, well, we're going to get bought soon. What does that do? What does that do for Ten Hag or Marcus Rashford or Casemiro? What does it do for them that we're going to get bought soon? Soon. Who gives a shit about soon? Soon isn't now. Live in the moment. Oh, and this time next year I'm going to be a bloody millionaire. Oh, where do you think we're going to be in 5 years' time? Do you think we'll win the Premier League? I don't know. I don't know whether I'll be here in 5 years' time. None of us might not be here in 5 years' time. It might be a super COVID. Who gives a shit? I don't know. Live in the now, because tomorrow will take care of itself and the past is already written. Live in the now. And I tell you what, we can all be bitter and jealous about Chelsea, but they're living in the now. I tell you what, if you're a Chelsea fan, do you want to be a Chelsea fan? I don't want to be a Chelsea fan, but I wouldn't mind being a Chelsea fan who's a United fan and Man United are Chelsea. I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind that transfer window. Would you mind that transfer window? Would you sit here going, it's not fair. We've been a bit dodgy. We've cheated a little bit. Would you sit here now with me if we'd had the window they had? If we'd bought Mudryk, Badiashile, Fofana, Madueke, Gusto, and then Enzo Fernandez, and they bought somebody else, and João Felix. Oh my God, João Felix as well. I mean, come on, what's going on? I mean, seriously. And don't forget, well, you spent 200 million in the summer. Did we? What? How much did Chelsea spend in the summer? Koulibaly, Cucurella. They spent 200 million in the summer. They spent 200 million in the summer. They did spend 200 million in the summer. I tell you what, high five Chelsea. Fuck, Todd Bowley, Gary Neville. What's Gary Neville on about? We don't want any Americans. Oh, he wants to do North against West. And we're Manchester United. He wants to do a North versus South. Man, we don't want an American. We don't want American owners. We're Manchester United. You know what? I'm high fiving Todd Bowley. Well done. Well done. You might absolutely fall flat on your face. You might be Bambi on ice, but you know what? As a football fan, well done. Well done. Absolutely well done. I thought your summer transfer window was shite, by the way. £200 million, you may as well have burnt it. But I think your January transfer window, well done. Well done. I like Potter. I hope he works out. And I tell you what, I think your January transfer window has absolutely mugged off clubs like Manchester United who go, January transfer window is very difficult to operate in. You can't get good players in the January transfer window. It's a very difficult January transfer window is for idiots. This is Man United. This is John Murta and the Glazers. January transfer window is for idiots. You cannot buy good players and you cannot get value for money in the January transfer window. We like to do it in the summer. Ideally, I like to go to Turin, take the family, have a look around, take a few pictures and try and buy somebody. And if that doesn't work, me and Richard, we go to Barcelona, take a few pictures. They're building a cathedral there. It won't be built for 200 years. Take in a few of the sites, get up at 6, finish at 10, do a bit of... If we get a player, it's a bonus. But if we don't, we've got lovely pictures to show each other at Christmas. The best time to do transfers is in the summer. Next summer, we're thinking about going to Greece. We don't know whether there's any good players there, but the weather's fantastic. Summer transfer window is the place to be. That is the place to be. Well done to Chelsea. They have absolutely smashed the January transfer window, haven't they? If they get Enzo Fernandez, Madueke, Mudryk, João Felix, Gusto, Badiashile, Fofana, Enzo Fernandez. That's 7 players. And they got a Brazilian. I don't know anything about the Brazilian. We've just got Wout Weghorst. Forget about it. We've had the better window. You know what? Mid-table Chelsea, swivel on it. We've had the better window. You can have João Felix. You can have Mudryk. You can have Enzo Fernandez. I can't remember the rest of the list because it's bloody huge. But we got Wout Weghorst. Deal with it. Hold my beer. No, it's absolutely terrible, isn't it? And you know what? I don't really care. I don't really care what people think. I don't really care. If I could read the live chat, I would. No, but seriously, I don't really care. You know, you will get these sanctimonious know-it-alls going, oh, man's acting like we can buy people in January. We're up for sale, Goldbridge. Yeah, we're up for sale on the terms of the Glazers. This sale doesn't need to take this long. This sale doesn't depend on not spending in January. You are singing the tune that the Glazers want you to sing. Well done. Well done. This is a bloody disgrace as a January transfer window, and it's getting exposed more and more because every other club is I said this in the summer. This January transfer window is not normal. It's like a summer transfer window because of the World Cup, because of the volume of games. You start at the start of... did you know the Champions League final doesn't get played till June the 10th this year? This is not a January transfer window. Well, it is because it's in January, but the season started at the start of August and it ends on June the 10th. This is a mid-season break. It's a mid-season transfer window. You can't just ignore it like every other year and go, nah, we don't like it. Chelsea have fucking smashed it. They have. And Arsenal, they have. They've smashed it. Imagine if Arsenal get Caicedo and Chelsea get Enzo Fernandez. That's 2 midfielders we wouldn't have minded in the summer gone. Where are we going next? We're going to spend all summer chasing De Jong again? It's, maybe Todd Bowley does watch the United stand. Maybe he looks at you in the comments. Maybe he does. He's a clever guy if he does because you come up with good players. But, it's tipping point for United. And I'm not happy about that Enzo Fernandez story. I tell you what, it's rocked me to the core. It really has. Fabrizio Romano is basically saying that Chelsea are going back in for Enzo Fernandez. Can we have Piss Bridge every show? Well, I'm not confirming that, playing. I'm not going to confirm that. What I will confirm is I won't be live on YouTube for the live tour, so I definitely will have a couple of drinks before I go on stage. Dutch Courage, Ten Hag. No, it's a tour. I'll probably have you know what? Ricky Gervais does it. He's sponsored by Foster's. Ricky Gervais, he goes on stand on drinking drinks. So if you want more of this, this is what it'll be like on the tour. So we've sold out Dublin. Forget that. You won't see me drinking Guinness. But links in the live chat and it's in the video description. Get your tickets. London and Manchester. We've still got a few left. Join us on the tour. It's going to be fantastic in the international break. And it'll be a lot like this. But I will answer questions like, who's the biggest backstabber that worked for the United stand? What do you really think of Rio Ferdinand? You know, those sort of questions will be on the tour because I won't give a shit. I will answer them. I won't do it on YouTube. Anyway, back to the show. I wanted to get that off my chest at the start because I don't really care what people think. Like, I respect other people's opinion, but I'm not happy about this transfer window. I'm very, 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 very unhappy. There's 48 hours left. Eriksen's probably out for 2 weeks at least. Donny's out for the season. And, you know, I'm looking at Chelsea, a mid-table club, looking at next season and the season after, building a super squad for a manager that they trust. And I look at Ten Hag and I go, well, they spent money on him when he hadn't kicked a ball. He's now kicked a ball. He's shown he's one of the best managers in the league. And they're going, nah, there's no money left, mate. It's a bloody disgrace. It really is. And we are at tipping point because the FA... And what does tipping point mean? I really do think we're talking Erik Ten Hag's biggest test now. It really is about what can be achieved in the circumstances he has. It's difficult. It's really difficult. I personally don't think Ten Hag's big problem is Arsenal or Barcelona or Manchester City or Newcastle. Look at the Carabao Cup. The barrier to winning the Carabao Cup is Newcastle. Look at the Europa League. Barcelona is the barrier. Look at top four. I mean, really, you know, top four is you've got a lot more games to play. Look at the FA Cup. The two favourites to win the FA Cup are Man City and Man United. So you can see the barriers. They are there. But I don't think Man City are a barrier in the FA Cup. I don't think Barcelona are a barrier in the Europa League. I don't think Newcastle are a barrier in the Carabao Cup. I'm not going to be able to say barrier for many more times. And I don't think that, you know, the volume of games in the Premier League is a barrier to top four. I think the barrier is the restrictions that Erik Ten Hag has had inflicted on him. I mean, I know what the problem is this season, and I think you know as well. Our success and what is achievable, I'm going to do a poll in a minute. Had a few pints, Bridge, says Mr. Cheetah. I'm not going to confirm it. Mark, take the Glazers to the train station, a.k.a. Yellowstone. If you know, you know, says Tumbleweed. I bloody do know. Get me Rip. Get Rip and John Boy. Mark has spent more down the pub today than the Glazers have spent in the January transfer window, says Ian Carlton. Anyway, what I was going to say is that I'm going to do a poll in a minute about what you think we will get. It'll be top four in the Carabao Cup, nothing and all that. You can vote on that in a minute. But I'll tell you this, in my humble opinion, and my opinion's no better than the cat next door, in my opinion, the biggest risk and the biggest test for Erik Ten Hag is not... look, as simple as I can say it is this. Erik Ten Hag against Manchester City, against Arsenal, against Barcelona, if he can pick his best United side, I'll back him. I'll back him to get a result. I don't care. Man City are a very good side. Arsenal are a very good side. I'll back United to get a result. What I won't back Ten Hag to do is work a bloody miracle between February and March, playing 3 games a week forever. He's been doing that for a month already, and he's done really, really well. You know, it's a bit like being, I don't know, Liam Gallagher. You know, you've got a concert every 3 days. What are you doing to me? What are you doing to me? For the first month, you get through it, but you're never going to do it for 5 months. You're going to get a sore throat. And that's what's going to happen here. I think the biggest test that Ten Hag's got is it's virtually impossible to get top 4, win the FA Cup, win the Carabao Cup and win the Europa League. However, if he'd been backed like Arteta has and Potter has, I think he could do it all. We will fail, not because Ten Hag's not a good coach. We will fail because he hasn't got the squad to do it. It's a ridiculous demand on him, and we are hitting tipping point. Will the Glazers have the audacity to go to Wembley, says Sean. Well, they should be booed out of bloody England. They're a bloody disgrace. They're an absolute disgrace. They're a bloody disgrace. They are absolutely a disgrace. I don't care. I'm not bothered. You are a bloody disgrace. There's nothing about you that's not a disgrace. You are a disgrace. You had one chance to leave this club with people going, thank you. And then you wouldn't have got a thank you anyway, but you had one chance to leave the club in a way that wasn't a disgrace. And that was to just back the fucking manager in January. Like, he's the best manager we've had since Sir Alex Ferguson. He's achieved so much with so little. And 200 million in the summer. Shut up. We were shit last season. You needed about $500 million. The reality is they've done sod all for him. They've hung him out to dry in the January transfer window. They're a disgrace. They're a bloody disgrace. And the sooner they piss off, the better. Mark, there's no way they invest in January. I completely disagree with you. If club's for sale, they don't invest, as Ivan. Well, Ivan, thank you very much. Because I completely disagree with you, mate. I think your logic is absolutely shite. If I'm selling my car and it's on the driveway and it's muddy and people are looking to come and look at it, I'll wash it. I won't leave it muddy because I know I'll get more money for it if it's clean. And that's what the Glazers are doing. They're like, the club's for sale, we're not going to spend anything. This is an idiotic reason that some thickos actually believe. Well, we're not going to spend any money in January because the club's for sale. Oh, okay. So your house is for sale. Someone's coming to look at it at 11 o'clock. You can have a big shit at 5 to 11 and not open the window. Oh, it's for sale. It doesn't matter. Do you think that people might buy it if it smells not like your shit? It's ridiculous. It's a stupid logic that doesn't work at any level. If you're trying to sell something, you cut the grass, you trim the grass, you wash the car, you don't have a shit 5 minutes before, you hoover the carpets, you wash the windows, you spray some nice air freshener. I bought a house a few years ago. I walked into it and I was like, what is this smell? And I said to the buyer, what is this smell? And they said, it's Joe Malone pomegranate. And I went, it's bloody lovely. They said, thank you. I said, I'll buy the house. I hadn't even seen anything. I just went, that's a bloody lovely smell. Imagine if they just had a big poo. And I walked in. Oh, I love the smell of your crap. Did you have a curry last night? It's idiotic. I'm sorry, it is idiotic. It is idiotic. If you're trying to sell something, I mean, we've all done it, haven't we? You're selling your house, you're selling your car, you try and cover up the area that's a bit shit and you focus on the bit that's a bit good. What the Glazers are doing is that we're up for sale, buy it. We want 2 billion more than it's worth, and we're going to have a big dump in January as well. That's what they've done. And Ivan thinks that's normal behaviour. Ivan, don't ever go and buy Ivan's house because he'll have a big old crap the minute before you come in. It's stupid. It's absolutely stupid. If you're trying to buy something, make it as good as it is. If you want 7 billion for Man United, make sure they're going to get top. I mean, look, let me just spell this out for you. If you want 2 billion more than Manchester United's worth, maybe get top 4, win the Carabao Cup, win the FA Cup and win the Europa League. I mean, it's not the Champions League or the Premier League, but 3 trophies in top 4. This club's going places. We want 6-7 billion. As opposed to the Glazers who are going, we're not spending anything in January. We've fucked up top 4. We've messed up. It's illogical. It's absolutely illogical. Only the Glazers could approach selling the club like this. Having no money in January. It's idiotic. And you know what? The stupid thing is as well, it's not about selling the club. And I don't think some people figure this out. I'll tell you something really interesting in a minute. I know you'll be angry, but Man United invested wrongly. More of $1 billion where we are now. We need a new leader like Ten Hag, says Mohammed. Arsenal and are being smart because in the summer, if Newcastle secure Europe, they become a player in the transfer market for those names. Yes, JB, you're right. What I don't understand, would the club worth the same to any buyer if we don't make top four? Plus 200 million, only because they had to fans made them, says Mustafa. And why wouldn't you want the team to have the best possible opportunity to win this season to make it more attractive for buyers, says Stephen Rossi? Exactly. Absolutely spot on. I think it's... I think you're absolutely spot on. It doesn't make any sense. It is illogical to think that to not spend in January is illogical. But you know what? Let me just say this. You know, for anybody who says it's completely logical that we're not buying anything in January because the club's up for sale, even if the club's not up for sale, you should still be spending in January. What if you're in a relegation battle? What if you're in a situation like Arsenal? The scary thing about United, this just finishes any argument, right? Think of it like this. Sometimes you have to change a situation to understand how stupid a situation is. Imagine, trim the United hedge to make the yard look bigger, says Adastra. That's not what we're imagining. The new rule comes out in February. That's why Chelsea, Arsenal are buying now, because transfers become more difficult, says we are the only passing through. Exactly, we'll get it done. And Mark, remember when I said we didn't need to buy in January? Look at our results. I've exposed myself as a genius. Hybrid. January is for desperate clubs. Hybrid is John Murtaugh in disguise. But no, the thing that amazes me, and forget with a sale, and forget we're in a top four race, and forget we could win 3 trophies this year. The scariest thing about Man United is, and John Murtaugh said this in September, we don't want to spend in January, we like to spend in the summer. If Man United were in the same position, now think about this, and just be quiet for a minute, think about this. If Manchester United were in the same position as Arsenal, 5 points clear at the top with a game in hand, we still wouldn't buy anybody, and we'd still only get Wout Weghorst on loan. Knowing Man City are capable of going and winning 15 games in a row, and knowing that Man City have basically got a second team that's as good as most Premier League's first teams, the Glazers, Murtaugh and Arnold would still go, all you can have is Wout Weghorst. It's bad in this situation, but they would 100% be doing that this summer. If we were in Arsenal's position, our board would still say, you're not having anybody. That's how crap this club is run. There is no circumstance that makes them spend any money. For sale, top of the league, relegation battle, they ain't spending any money. Because that's how this club is run. And I'll sing hallelujah and any other bloody thing when they piss off, because they are an absolute disgrace. I've had enough of it. I've had enough of it for a long time, and I'm sure you have as well. It's a bloody joke. What annoys me the most is that these players have turned around situations that many of us didn't think was possible. And of course you get these bloody twats on social media who go back and find your tweets about Rashford needs to be sold, why did we give Bruno a contract? They forget what it was like last April. They were an absolute disgrace to the shirt. But because they're scoring goals now, everyone's like, oh, look at this tweet from last April. I don't care. Check my timeline from April. I stand by it. They were a shower of shit. They were a disgrace to the shirt. United away fans, who were the life and soul of this club, were booing them. Forget my tweets. Man United away fans were singing, you're not fit to wear the shirt. You know, the life and soul of this football club, the people who go home and away, were singing, you're not fit to wear the shirt. So screw your little screenshots, you little bloody twat on Twitter. I'm getting my words mixed up. I stand by it. I thought the contract for Bruno was a joke. I thought that Rashford probably should have been sold. I stand by it because it was a bloody disgrace. I'm not a flip-flop. I know where I was last April and May. That club was a disgrace and the players were a disgrace. But do you not see this positive? Marcus Rashford now? How much is he worth? He's one of the most valuable players in the world. Bruno Fernandes is turning it on. This just adds to why I'm annoyed. That these players have turned a situation around from being bottom of the barrel to being top of the world. The manager has done an amazing job and then they're not being backed. It's just not right. I can understand the Glazers don't want to spend before a sale, but surely there's 20 million or so available. I'd even take a loan at this point, says Nick. I don't understand why the Glazers wouldn't spend before a sale. They're going to make billions. They're going to make billions. Why would you not spend 30, 40 million? Stupid. That's why people bake bread and freshly brew coffee. Totally agree with you. Same case with transfers. Should look forward, not backwards, says Sinead. Thank you very much. But look, I don't want to over-egg the pudding, but seriously, I think that the biggest challenge that Eric Ten Hag faces at the moment, and his biggest test, is how to navigate the next 4 months if United do nothing in the next 48 hours. And I don't think there's anything they can do. I really don't. I think his biggest challenge is the next 4 months. I mean, we're all like, it's 48 hours. The transfer window closes in 48 hours. There is nothing out there. Nothing. There is no story. There is no agent. There is no transfer out there for Man United. Anything we do, and I still suspect we will do something, is going to be deadline day, last few hours, desperation. There's nothing going on. That means there's no plan. Even if we get somebody, there's no plan. It's just hope. And this is not good enough. It's not good enough. It's not what Ten Hag deserves. He wants to win the Carabao Cup. He wants to win the FA Cup. He wants to win the Europa League, and he wants to win the top 4. If that is winning something. And can he do it? Mark, thoughts on people saying Mainu could replace Eriksen so we don't buy a midfielder? Absolute idiots, Atoro. Absolute idiots. Kick them out of the club. Absolute idiots. Mainu is a child. He is a youth player. He must be developed and given time the same way Garnacho should be. You do not replace Eriksen with Mainu and go and do it. That is complete naive. That's the same idiots who say that David De Gea should have come and got that cross. I still cannot believe people think David De Gea should have come and got that cross. The trajectory of that ball is too low for a keeper to come and punch or catch on the 6-yard line. It's ridiculous. Mark, my girlfriend Holly has asked, what are your thoughts on our club Hull? And she thinks United should look at signing Ryan Longman in the summer. I have no thoughts about Hull, Connor or Holly. I really don't. My whole life, I have no thoughts about Hull unless you ask me about it. I quite simply don't. Mark, what about his child abuse to rely on Mainu? But you know what, Dio? What wouldn't surprise me, and I think we should prepare ourselves for this, what wouldn't surprise me is if we did something ridiculously naive, like recalled Mejbri from Birmingham or Ahmad from Sunderland and said, well, Eriksen's out, let's do that. That's the sort of stupidity I would expect. I like Ahmad, I like Mejbri, but they're on loan in the Championship developing as young players. You do not bring them back to replace Eriksen. We should bring players in, and we haven't. You can almost sense the annoyance from the board that he went strong in the cup competitions, forcing their hand in interviews as well to back his success. You know what? I don't think Ten Hag could handle this any better if he tried. I think he desperately wants to. I mean, I want to do a poll, actually. Let's do a poll on this. I mean, what is achievable? I mean, I suppose that is... Oh, if I can type this, I deserve a big clap. What is achievable? I can do it. There we go. Okay, so what is achievable for United? This is really relevant now. Top 4 only. Top 4 and a cup. Top 4 and 2 cups. This is I'm actually very clever here. Top 4 and 3 cups. So Europa League, Carabao Cup. I'd like to add nothing in there, but it won't let me do 5. That's a shame. I'd love to do 5. I'm sure it used to let you do 5. Anyway, we'll do that. Get your vote in the poll. What is your realistic expectation for Manchester United in this January transfer window? No. What is your realistic expectation for Manchester United this season? Honestly, I think if Erik Ten Hag was backed, I think he could win 3 trophies in top 4. I think we can win the Carabao Cup. I think we can win the FA Cup. I think we could win the Europa League, and I think we could get top 4. But I've got to go back to me at the start of the season when I was sober and say, I could see the problem. I really hate I told you so, people. But, you know, that's the whole point of predictions, isn't it? Predictions are I told you so. It's the definition of a told you so is making a prediction. And I didn't put us in the top 4. You know I didn't. I didn't put us in the top 4. And I always said, I think it's dangerous to put us in the top 4 because you are over-expecting. You're exceeding the expectations of what Ten Hag can do in his first season from where we came from. And also, I look at that squad and I don't really rate the depth of Maguire and everybody else. And McTominay. I don't rate that depth and Elanga. I don't rate it. I rate the first team, but I don't rate the second team. And I think top 4 is difficult. We've over-exceeded expectation. All credit to Ten Hag for achieving what he is amongst the absolute mess of our club and lack of backing. Yeah, Keith, I think you're spot on. Out of top 4 in all cups in March, says De Gea. Mark, personally, I think the Glazers have done enough for this club to warrant a January off buying players. Taylor, you're an absolute twat. And in an ideal world, we would go and pay whatever it takes to get McAllister out of Brighton, but only realistic option is Tielemans. Andrew, Tielemans is not a realistic option. He is not realistic at all. That is not realistic. We haven't got the money to do that. We really haven't. Most of you, I tell you what, I'm desperate for a wee. I'm gonna chance my arm here and go for one. And if you're here when I come back, great. So I never do that. I never do that on the United stand, but needs must. And we've retained most of the viewers. You are legends. What a community we have, hey. What a community we have. You are absolutely. You are legends. You are. I'm not blowing. I've been doing this for 7 years now. I don't need to. You know when you start out and you say, oh, it's all about the community. We're all about the community. Oh, you copied that off the United stand, didn't you, as well? Like you copy everything else. What's your favourite packet of crisps? Yeah, you copied that off the United stand as well. But you know what? On a serious level, we've been doing this for 7 years. We are the originals. You are legends. You really are. Yes, you are. Wherever you are, whoever you are, whatever you are, you are legends. Thank you very much. But look, no, let's go straight to this. I want to talk about Cody Gakpo as well. You know, I do want to talk about Cody Gakpo. I've got a really interesting theory on Cody Gakpo. I disagree with United fans on Cody Gakpo, right? So anyway, let's look at the poll. What is achievable for United this season? So this is how you have voted, and we've had 5,000 votes. 13% of you have said top 4 only. Yeah. The vast majority of you have said top 4 in a cup. 17% have gone top 4 in 2 cups, and 6% have gone top 4 in 3 cups. I mean, top 4 in 3 cups would mean top 4 Carabao Cup, FA Cup, and the Europa League. What do I think? Thumbnail should say tipsy points as Grant. Yeah, well, you know what? I did tweet out that it might be a different show. Real Madrid have reached an agreement in principle for Ronaldo. Yeah, what are you talking about, Hibrin? I think that You know what? It's very difficult for me. You know what? If I was predicting Ten Hag on pure ability, I would say top four. Well, okay. This is a good way of doing it, actually. So I think if Ten Hag could pick his strongest... No, that's not fair, actually. If Ten Hag had been backed in January and he could rotate and pick strong teams... Cody, welcome to the Members Club. I think he would get top 4 and 2 trophies. So I think it's realistic for Manchester United, on the way that they've played so far, with the manager and backing, to get top 4 and 2 trophies. But clearly he's not been backed in January. So I think that is, it's difficult to achieve. I do think we've got a 60% chance of getting top 4, even with the lack of backing, because I think Spurs are ridiculously inconsistent and Liverpool look shit. So who's gonna take us out of the top 4? I think if there was a team really chasing down top 4, I'd be worried. Actually, that's a good way of looking at it. I think we'll get top 4 because I don't think there's anybody really chasing us or Newcastle down. And I think we'll win a trophy. I agree. I'm going to say top 4 and a trophy. I think that's what we'll do. However, if somebody stop me. I think if somebody really challenges for top 4, we might be in trouble. But I think we'll get it simply because nobody's really challenging for top 4 at the moment. What should have happened? Beat Leeds and got McKennie in. Now if we get someone in big, if we go for a desperate deal like an Isco or a Royce, says Leo G. I think there will be a desperate deal in the next couple of days. I really do. But on Gakpo, I've seen a lot of people... look, I get it. I went to school. I know how it works. A lot of people are calling him Cody Crapco, Cody Gashpo. There's loads of stuff going on. I'll tell you a little story about Cody Gakpo, and it's a really little story. If United had bought Ten Hag, his number one priority this January transfer window, Cody Gakpo would be wearing a Man United shirt. And if Cody Gakpo was wearing a Man United shirt, he'd be doing better than he is at Liverpool. Cody Gakpo's not a bad player. He's just probably at the wrong club. And I think he might come good, but he's at the wrong club. He should be wearing a United shirt. He wouldn't be a bad player at United. I think that Liverpool saw an opportunity and took it, but I think Ten Hag actually had a plan for Gakpo. Mark, I need your wisdom. If I tried to fail but I succeed, which one did I actually do? Dylan, forget about it. Man United have reached an agreement to sign no one, says Mello. Thank you very much for that, Mello. Ross, welcome to the Members Club. Mark C, to be honest, just remembered he is only settling in. I think Gakpo will probably end up being a good player, but I don't think he's a bad player. I think I would love him to have come to Manchester United. James says, I love Drunk Bidge. Get yourself along to the tour. This is basically what the tour is going to be like. You've had a glimpse of what the tour is going to be like. This sort of energy and nonsense will just be me for 2 hours. I did wash my hands, Skull Crushers, thank you. I firmly believe in it. It's a way of life. Was there anything else I wanted to talk about before I take your trophies? Your topics, sorry. I suppose, tomorrow is Monday. Sports News, it is. Tomorrow is Monday, and the transfer window is going to close on Tuesday. My prediction is we're going to see clubs that have already done good business do big business. I do think Caicedo will go to Arsenal. And this Enzo Fernandez story about Chelsea is as stunning as it is disappointing. It is absolutely fascinating, to be honest with you. I think it's. I think it could be. I think it could be a disappointing transfer window for Manchester United. Well, it will be a disappointing transfer window, but I still think we'll do something. But there's something we're going to do, unless we pull a miracle out and get Gravenberch on loan. I think whatever we get isn't going to be as good as what everyone else has done. And I think we're going to observe our rivals do some pretty decent business, if I'm honest with you. But, what can you do about it? This is why we need new owners. We need these prats to piss off. We really should have kept Garner, says James. Let's end that poll. Thank you very much. Only thing I see as doing is bringing Hannibal back from loan, which I think would be a terrible idea. I think it'd be terrible. If I genuinely think if we bring back Hannibal or Ahmad from loan, it indicates just what a shit-run club we are. It's not right to do that. That's not future planning. That's just desperation. And as much as we feel happy about current achievements, it's so heartbreaking to see how stupid owners destroy our club, says Irfan. My major concern is how long we can sustain getting away with what we've got. Isco is crap, Benji. He wants to bring Isco in for 6 months. He's absolutely shit. He got binned off by, was it Valencia? They absolutely terminated his contract. Gail says, we won't get anything, Mark. The Glazers have sucked all the blood they possibly could. And we've got a super chat from Paul. He says, scary how we're a Rashford or Casemiro injury from losing top four. You know what, Paul? You know what? I applaud you for that. You've absolutely banged the nail on the head. I really do think that you lose Rashford or Casemiro and it's curtains. It is. If Rashford wasn't fit or Casemiro wasn't fit, I think we're fucked. As blunt as that is, I really do. I do. I think that's how fragile our season is. Especially Casemiro, because there is no replacement. I mean, there is no replacement for Rashford, but you could hope that Sancho comes back. You could use Garnacho. Martial maybe comes back. You lose Casemiro, it's over. It's absolutely over. I mean, and that's an interesting thing to look at as well. I looked at Eriksen's injury record is unbelievable. He's a bit like Bruno in that sense that he never gets injured. But what is Casemiro's injury history? Considering he's 30, I'm really hoping we're going to look and see not much. So Casemiro doesn't really get much, to be fair. His biggest issue was a sprained ankle in November 2018, so 5 years ago. He's never missed more than 2 weeks for 5 years. And in his whole career, he doesn't get many injuries. So that's a positive with Casemiro. The sale of the club is dragging on like Ollie's sacking. Just need it over with ASAP, says Connor. And do you think Chelsea can buy enough talent to actually challenge this season for top four, says Stephen? It's a good question. I think Chelsea are capable of going on a really good run. I think there's something for Chelsea in this season. Whether that's top four or a deep run in the Champions League, I do think they're capable of doing something. They're buying so many players. I do think they're capable of doing something, but and they've got good players to come back from injury. I think Chelsea are a very interesting one. For me, I think Liverpool are the biggest threat for top four, and I don't think at the moment they look like they will do it. But Chelsea are one which you'd be foolish not to keep an eye on. Would be nice if we kept Pogba, says Mark. You do realise he's been injured for 6 months, so it wouldn't be. Board 456 says, do you think we can still buy one more player in the transfer window? Well, we won't buy anybody. It will be a loan deal. And Juan says, what I fear most is Chelsea going on a great run and taking top four. Well, they're 10 points off the top. I think we've got to play Chelsea. Where did we play Chelsea? Have we played Chelsea at Old Trafford? No, we played them at Stamford Bridge, didn't we? I can't remember playing Chelsea this year. I don't remember playing Chelsea this year. We played them at the Bridge, didn't we? Yeah, it's at Old Trafford. What was the score? Was it a draw? Yeah, draw. I don't remember it. I don't remember that game. Yes, I do remember it now. Thanks, Sam. Potter made a sub in the first half. It was straight after the Spurs game, wasn't it? Yeah, we dominated them for half an hour, but we didn't get the game won. Yeah, I remember it now. I do remember it. Last minute equaliser. Why don't I remember that game? That's a weird one not to remember, yeah. Yeah, I do remember it now. Kovacic in the sum of 30 million says MT90. Yeah, he would be good. It would be good. I like Kovacic. But does Arnold and Murta have a Twitter so I can expose them, says Kyle? They don't need a Twitter to do that. They don't need that. That Fabinho tackle, Christian, was horrible, and also his drop off has been ridiculous. What are you going to do after the show? Probably have a big bowl of shreddies. When is the FA Cup draw, Bob the Builder? Is it the draw now? When is the FA Cup draw? Let me know where it is. Today. Tomorrow night. FA Cup would be nice, as Mark. It's on Monday. It's on tomorrow. Put in my head. It's on at 7 p.m. tomorrow. Well, in relation to the FA Cup, it's us or Man City, I think. And we'll probably pull out Man City in the next game, won't we? It's on the One Show. I don't like the One Show. One diddle da 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 da, one diddle da 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 da, one diddle da 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 da, one. That's what I think about the One Show. I don't like the One Show. Jermaine Genius is on it, isn't he? Yeah, have that. One. No, I won't be watching that then. It's frustrating. I think the last 10 years supporting United has been frustrating. That's the word, isn't it? So many mistakes that, a toddler wouldn't make, really. But hopefully we'll get to it. We've got the right manager now. We've got some of the right players. He probably needs 6 more, and he needs good people above him. That's what Ten Hag needs, and then the glory days will come back. I believe it. I do really believe it. But it's competitive. It's competitive. I mean, football has changed. We're never going to see the days of Sir Alex Ferguson again, where you can dominate football for 20 years. That won't happen. Man City are always going to be a contender. Arsenal are a contender. Chelsea will be a contender. Liverpool are a contender. Newcastle probably will be a contender. Even with the money, we won't dominate football again. I just don't think we're going to see that again. I think it's levelling out. The One Show or EastEnders, says Jack Lynch. Well, I only ever watch EastEnders on Christmas Day because it's the only day I have off. So I'll just watch any old shit on Christmas Day night, to be honest with you. Don't forget Brighton and Fulham trying to fight for top 5, says Ladios. And even players like Ceballos or Sola will be great additions, says Jay. Do you think the fans will make it impossible to sell to a bad owner, or will the Glazers have all the power? GTK, the fans will have no input on who we sell to. Read it back. The Glazers will not spend money in January, and it doesn't make any sense. If you're trying to sell something, you want to sell it in a good way. People would be more interested in buying United if we just spent money in January, because it makes us more favourable to get top 4. The Glazers give no shits about United. This is sabotage. They're basically saying up yours to us. They're not going to sell us to someone that's good for United. They're going to sell to the highest bidder. That's what's going to happen. Pure and simple every time. Lightning seeds. Do you think we could get Dele Alli on loan? I tell you what, I will warn you. If we do a deal, it could be something really weird, because that's what happens when you're trying to do a loan deal on the last day of the window. And we've got Fabrizio on the show tomorrow afternoon. It'll be very interesting if he's heard anything. I know he's spoken about Enzo Fernandez to Chelsea. He did say a week ago the last few hours of the transfer window for Manchester United could be interesting. But I think that we'll have to wait and see. Someone in the chat just said another misleading thumbnail. I mean, I don't think Yeah, I mean, there's absolutely nothing misleading about Tipping Point and Ten Hag's biggest test, is there? I mean, we've just spent like 56 minutes talking about it. I can't be asked to repeat what I said at the end of the show this morning, but there are some sad people out there, and I think we should pray for them. Their world is full of hate. They have no lives. I wouldn't want to live in their head. Don't stress, Mark. You're good, says this. I'm not stressing tonight. I'm in a good mood. The Enzo Fernandez move to Chelsea might tip me to Tipping Point, to be fair. I'm very happy with Anthony Peter. I think he's progressing. You know I like Anthony. You know I've spoken about patience. I don't do a told you so, and I won't do that. But I'm happy with Anthony, and I think the progression is just about patience. I think some people wrote him off a bit quick. Tadic or Ander Herrera on loan, both Premier League players, says Howard. I don't know whether you'd get Tadic out of Ajax. I mean, I wouldn't mind Ander Herrera coming back. I really wouldn't. I really wouldn't mind. But look, you know, it's not really the player I want, but in the grand scheme of things, I wouldn't mind it too much. Let's hope Fabrizio is not pissed, says North. So we've got Fabrizio on the show tomorrow, of course. It's Monday tomorrow, isn't it? And we're playing on Wednesday. So look, transfer window closes on Tuesday. Let's see what happens with it. I'm intrigued, but I'm not expecting anything major. I think it will be... Well, it'll be something or nothing, won't it? I hope it's something we're all excited about. I hope it's a Gravenberch or something like that, and not a Danny Drinkwater or a Dele Alli. But we will see. We will see what happens. I don't think we'd get Kessie because we're about to play Barcelona. I don't think they would do that. Really, I don't. Look. Hopefully United can do something, but we're scraping the barrel in the transfer market 100%. I hope you've enjoyed the show tonight. I've really enjoyed it. I don't remember most of it, but it's been a good show. And as I say, we've sold 2 nights out in Dublin. I can't wait for these shows. We're putting a lot of thought into them to try and make them as interactive and as fun as ever. But what I can guarantee is that Goldbridge will have had a couple of pints before he goes on stage, and I'll probably be drinking while I'm on stage, Ricky Gervais style. So looking forward to that. There are still tickets available for Manchester and London. Links in the video description, or it's in the live chat. Get yourself down there. Come on, Man United Stand community. Let's make a good night of it in the international break in March. See you there, or be square, or whatever like that. Thanks everyone for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great evening, and I hope you enjoyed the show. Speak to you in a bit.